read the following.
Honorable Chair Member and members of the PHA Board, please note that pursuant to the Governor of the State of California, Executive Order N2520 and N2920 and any others, and in the interest of the public health and safety, members of this board and staff are participating via teleconference. Due to the evolving situation with the corona and health orders from the state, LA County Health Department, and the City of Hawaiian Gardens executive orders, the meetings are also available to the public remotely via the City of Hawaiian Gardens local cable channel, ATT 99, Frontier 16, Spectrum 36, and we are also conducting this meeting live stream via the city's website at hgcity.org.
Hello, Hawaiian Gardens. Thank you, Lucy. Now, can you please conduct roll call?
Thank you, Chair Member. Director Prieto.
Here.
Director Mahar.
Here.
Director Trimble. He's here. Director Maravilla.
Here.
Director Farfan.
Here.
Vice Chair Member Roa.
Here.
Chair Member Alvarado.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Lucy. Now we go to public comments. Our PHA secretary will read and provide information relating to general public comments.
Honorable members of the board, for the Public Housing Authority, the agenda has an area for general public comments for items on and not on the agenda and that are non-public hearing items. The public has been provided an opportunity to present any comments or questions via e-comment on the city's website with links on the agendas with timeframes to be submitted at 5 p.m. today. The items are not to be longer than 250 words and in accordance with the government codes. E-comments along with written correspondence to be dropped off at the City Hall Dropbox or received via email. At this time, there have not been any items submitted for the Public Housing Authority.
Thank you, Lucy. Now we go to agenda organization. This is the time for the agency to discuss any changes in the order of agenda items. Would anyone like to make any changes to the agenda organization? No? Okay, perfect. We go to public hearings. There's none. We go to consent calendar. Does anyone want to pull any item from the consent calendar for separate discussion? May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
I'll motion to approve. And I took me off again.
Did I get a, did I get a?
I second.
Okay, Lucy, can you do roll call, please?
The motion was made by Director Mahar, seconded by Director Maravilla. Director Prieto.
Yes.
Director Mahar.
Yes.
Director Roa.
Yes.
Director Farfan.
Yes.
Director Trimble.
Yes.
Director Maravilla.
Yes.
And Chair Member Alvarado.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you, Lucy. Now we go to C, discussion item C7, discussion relating to appointments of resident directors to the Public Housing Authority. Do you have staff report?
Honorable Chair, this is a request by Board Member Trimble to discuss appointments of residents to Director of Public Housing Authority.
Any, any discussion, questions?
You have to hit unmute.
No, I'm not mute. I was just not going to speak over the mayor because he started speaking. Can I speak now?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. The reason I brought this up is because I know Richard. I've known him since he was a little kid. I knew his mom. I know she married Frank. I did their wedding. I have nothing against Richard. What I have is this. Mohar and Al-Babak has been on this for, at least 6 years. I know that Myra and Jesse didn't like Al-Babak. And when the applications went out for this position, and it's up to the mayor who he selects, well, the deadline for this position was November 15th, 2019. And Richard's application is timestamped January 21st, 2020. So it's 3 months after the deadline. See, we can't be breaking our own rules. And that's what I see a habit of this council doing. They set rules and boundaries, but yet they break them. That's all I wanted to bring out. I mean, I know we can't turn the clock back and change positions again, but I just think it was unfair to Al-Babak, who had no reason to be let go of the position. She was doing a good position. This man came up 3 months later and after the deadline and got the position. And I just don't want to see city council fall into this pattern. Mr. Farfan, when you first ran for city council, you and Mike are the only ones that put applications in. After that deadline, you guys were city council. There was no election because of the deadline. So you, of all people, should know the deadlines should be set in place to stay, not to be outvoted majority rules. So that's all I'm saying. I know if we voted again, it would happen again right now, 4-1, but that's all I wanted to bring out was to bring to your attention that we got to stick to our own rules.
I have a comment here, if I may.
Go ahead.
So commissioners serve at the discretion of the city council, and the city council made a decision to appoint Richard. I think for me, speaking on my own behalf, I know that Richard expressed interest, and I'm very happy to hear when new interested members are interested in serving on commissions. So to me, that's important to also give other people the opportunity to serve. I believe that the distinction between currently council member Farfan and past council member were that when they submitted an application, that was guided by the elections code as it relates to nomination period and elections governed by the state of California and the county. This is completely different. Commissioners do not abide by the elections code, and they do serve at the discretion of the council. So I wanted to make sure that I make that distinction. And I know also Megan had spoken to this item in the past, and the council does have the ability to appoint whomever they would like to appoint. And that is also even if a term is not up, a commissioner can be removed and replaced.
Then maybe we should take these deadlines off the paper and save ink and time, because we're not going to abide by them anyway. So maybe they should rewrite that.
Any other comments? Megan, do we have a motion for this?
Honorable Chair, there's no motion necessary unless the city council would like to make a directive or a motion, I guess, but there's nothing necessary.
Okay, I'd say just leave it the way it is. I know, Hank Trimble, we went over this conversation already twice. I'm not sure where you've been or what did you miss. But if you want clarification, Mayor can definitely explain to you briefly, that everything was followed by the law. And she, if you need clarification, she can do it right now. That way you're cleared on what the law pertains to that.
Well, here's the thing. There is no law because this paper that says deadline in December, it's not real. It's not real. It doesn't matter. There is no deadline. And we were going to go over it twice before, but our meetings got canceled or I had to go somewhere, so we could never discuss it. This is the very first time we're discussing it. And I just wanted to bring out to the public so they'll know that 3 months after the deadline, we got this man that said he'll take Abba Bak's job. And the reason I know you did it, because you yelled at her one time, told her to shut up. And what part of shut up don't you understand? I mean, I seen the whole thing unfolding. I kind of knew they were going to replace her, but 3 months after the deadline, that's a little too harsh, a little too much, because we should stick to our own rules.
Okay, just for clarification, I never said to shut up, but anyways, I want to move on with this conversation. So if there's anything else, we're going to go to new business. Is there any new business? No closed session? Are there any oral staff report? Any oral authority reports? There be no further business. I hereby adjourn this meeting at 5:56 p.m. until next regular meeting to be held on May 26, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. I hereby call the regular city council meeting of April 28, 2020 to order at 6:12 p.m. City clerk will provide brief information relating to the conduct of the meeting and will read the following.
Thank you, Mayor. Please note that pursuant to the Governor of the State of California and the executive orders issued N25-20, N29-20, and any others, and in the interest of the public health and safety, members of the City Council and staff are participating in this meeting via teleconference. Due to the evolving situation with the coronavirus and additional health orders from the state, LA County Health Department, and the City of Hawaiian Gardens, the council meeting is available to the public remotely. The meeting can be viewed via various platforms, including the City of Hawaiian Gardens local cable channel, AT&T 99, Frontier 16, Spectrum 36, and via live stream on the city's website at hgcity.org.
Now the invocation will be led by Lucy, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Mayor Pro Tem, Luis Roa.
Thank you, Mayor. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift and the blessings that you have provided us with. We ask you to continue to be with each and every one of us. Please be with the families and those who have been affected negatively with the virus, who have been impacted as a result of the virus. And we just ask you, Lord, to guide the council today. We ask you to continue to be with this awesome city, be and protect each and every one of us and our families and those who we love and care about. In your precious name we pray, amen.
Now I think Lucy is going to be putting on the flag on the screen. And if we can begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
Flag.
United States of
States of
America
America,
and to the republic
for which it stands,
and
one
one
nation, under God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice
and
for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. Lucy, can you please conduct roll call?
Councilmember Trimble is here. Councilmember Maravilla,
Here.
Councilmember Farfan,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa,
Here.
Mayor Alvarado.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. We have no proclamations and certificates, no presentations. We go to public comments. The city clerk will provide information regarding public comments as a result of the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic situation.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I just want to provide information relating to the general public comments as well as the public hearing public comments. They will be addressed differently at the appropriate times. Just for the public's information, the item related to public comments for non-public hearing items, the members of the public have been provided the opportunity to provide comments pertaining to public comments that are not public hearing via e-comment on the city's website, where anyone from the public is able to click on the link and provide their comments. There's also been an opportunity for people to provide written correspondence via a City Hall Dropbox or via email. The correspondence must have been received today at 5 p.m. However, there was a misprint on one of our social media accounts that said 5:30, and there were some that were received after the 5 o'clock original deadline. So we will go ahead and admit those, and I will read those into the record.
And now open public comments.
So one of the comments is from Amanda Batali. It says, "Hi, my name is Amanda Batali and I live in Hawaiian Gardens. I live in an apartment complex, which is lovely, but it kind of sucks how we can't have traditional yard sales. I think it would be great if Hawaiian Gardens hosted an annual yard sale event, which could drive traffic from all of the cities nearby. I would like to have an opportunity to sell stuff and make it efficient for apartment residents. Maybe 2 Saturdays and split the residents on who gets to, and of course, house owners can have yard sales whenever. Please contact me for more ideas. I would love to help." The other item that was received today as well does not have a comment name, but it was submitted via e-comments, and it says, "Please consider others for any openings for commissions instead of reappointing incumbents. As was done for the housing, it was open regardless of incumbents is interested still. Thanks." And the final comment that was submitted was from Francis Rodriguez, and it states, "Hello, according to Los Cerritos newspaper, there are 9 confirmed coronavirus cases in Hawaiian Gardens. Do you know if they work in Hawaiian Gardens and are staying home? Any information as to when the Gardens Casino plans to open? Do they have plans? Apparently, they're going forward with high roller hotels, so they still have plenty of money. On the March 16th meeting, the council authorized staff to start using reserve funds. It's a good thing previous council members created these funds in case of a disaster. This council appears to be spending money as it was coming in. Hopefully, you will be able to replenish these funds in the near future." And that concludes the items that were presented for public comment.
Thank you, Lucy. Public comment are now closed. Go to agenda organization. This is a time for the city council to discuss any changes in the order of the agenda items. Would anyone like to make any changes to the agenda organization? Okay, we go to public hearings. The city clerk, Lucy will explain the public housing process, how we're going to conduct this meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I will explain how the public hearing is to be conducted. The applicants will be allowed to participate in the meeting via Zoom. The applicant and another representative will be joining the meeting shortly to participate at the appropriate time. For the public to know, for the public hearing, public comment section, just like the public comments for agenda items, the public has been allowed the opportunity to submit comments and questions via e-comment on the city's website by clicking on the links, via phone messages for callbacks, which none were received by the city, via correspondence by the mail or city hall drop box. And all items were due by 5 p.m. today. And even though the social media posted something slightly different, items that were received prior to the 5 o'clock deadline. And just for the record, there were 7 letters of support submitted, and those were provided to the city council. That concludes.
Thank you, Lucy. Go to A1, resolution number 027-2020. Conduct hearing and appeal the planning commission decisions of case number PLNG 2019-0096. Minor use permit for the operation of a 17,640 square foot fitness training facility, Metroflex Gym, on property located at 12551 Carson Street, Hawaiian Gardens, California. Do we have staff report?
Honorable Mayor and members of City Council, before you begin, Ms. Attorney, would it be appropriate to consider both resolutions at this point?
Yes. Yes, you can take them together for purposes of the public hearing.
Okay. Resolution number 028-2020, conduct hearing and appeal the planning commission's decision of case number PLNG 2020-0019, minor use permit for the parking reduction of conjunction with the fitness training facility, Metroflex Gym, on property located at 12551 Carson Street, Hawaiian Gardens, California. Do we also have staff report on this, or the C1 first, right? I mean, yeah. A1 first, right?
Yes, Honorable Mayor. Sorry. Yeah, turn. Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, this was an item that was before the Planning Commission on April 7, 2020 at a special meeting where they had considered 2 resolutions for the subject matter, which was the minor use permit for the Metroflex Gym, as well as a minor use permit for a parking reduction. This was voted by the Planning Commission, and they did approve it. Just so that the council knows, these type of entitlements, minor use permits, are generally approved by the community development director. But I felt that under these circumstances, being that this was going to be a 3rd gym, that I thought it was in the best interest that the due process would be done at a higher level, and that being the Planning Commission. Nevertheless, the Planning Commission did approve both entitlements, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see a PowerPoint presentation so we can go over it briefly. So we can do it real quick. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see this. Is there a PowerPoint on?
Yeah, it's on. Joe, go ahead.
Okay. Having a small technical difficulty here. Okay, here we go. All right, so again, you got two minor use permits. One is for the use itself, one is for the parking. Two resolutions, both were voted by the Planning Commission for approval. The project site is 12551 Carson Street, which is the Hawaiian Garden Square Shopping Center, also known as the Vaughn/Zion Center. This space basically is occupying or would be occupying the sub-anchor tennis space, which is about 17,000 square feet. What they're proposing is basically a Metroflex gym, which is basically a training facility that caters more to bodybuilding as compared to your typical fitness centers like we have two other ones in the city, which is a 24-Hour Fitness and the Planet Fitness. Again, this is an aerial shot. You can see there the subject tennis space that's being proposed to be occupied by the subject applicant there as a Metroflex gym. And this is their floor layout of what they're proposing for the entire tenant space. This space has been vacant for some time now. I think the last occupant in this facility was some type of a thrift store, and that's the space right there. This is the site plan of the existing center. There's really no changes being recommended or any improvements on the exterior, as it is pretty much a built-out shopping center. Okay, and I believe we have some pictures. So I'm going to share some pictures the applicant wanted us to show you of the existing facility as they currently operate in the city of Long Beach. I was also able to present the video that was shared to us by the applicant. So shortly following the PowerPoint presentation, I will present a video as well. But this is the existing facilities that currently exist in Long Beach. This is the interior of the existing facilities. This is a little shop there, I believe, just selling some apparel stuff and supplements and things of that nature. Okay, now I'm going to try to share my screen here for a video that was presented to us by the applicant.
What's up? It's Monday at
Okay, I'm not sure.
What's up? It's Monday at about 10 o'clock in the morning. Got a young man out there getting it in. And this is the typical flow of the gym. Trainer working with his client. No, not done yet. Just taking a break. What's up, everybody? Some specialized work over here. Trainer warming up, probably waiting for his client. Empty MMA area. Good morning. Got some guys training hard. Special forces. This is our powerlifting team. They're getting warmed up. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, Miguel? Miguel's lost 100 pounds with us in 1 year. What's up, my man? Good morning. Good to see you, bro. So we got machines over here. Two young ladies training. Tanya's a professional female bodybuilder. She's training two guys. She knows how to kick butt. What's up? And that's Ryan, one of our awesome trainers. Works with Inner City. What's up, man? When are your kids coming in today? A little bit. A little bit. Excellent. So that's the flow of the gym. Light traffic. This is a Monday at 10. 9:55. And so, yeah, this is it. Thanks.
Okay, so that concludes the video presentation. Let me try to get out of this here. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the mayor. And basically, the reason why this item is on the agenda is because under section 18100.020J, the council is entitled to a city council review of commission actions. And we have received a request from a council member to review the planning commission approval of these two entitlements that were approved on April 7th, 2020.
Thank you, Joe. Lucy, you mentioned that you had some letters, some comments on behalf of this gym.
That's correct, Mayor. We received 7 letters of support, and those were forwarded to the city council for the record.
Thank you, Lucy. Is there any council comments?
I have a comment. Mr. Juan Garza, how you doing, man? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the mayor of Bellflower.
Good evening, sir. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's good to see you here. And applicant, are you part of this gym?
I am actually not part of the, I'm not an investor or anything. I actually represent the applicant.
Like an attorney?
Yes, basically a consultant, yes. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah. Well, you know, Joe, I'm glad you brought this up to us because a third gym and reduced parking when we have no parking, and for the who brought this, who okayed this? The planning commission? What group?
So this was reviewed by the planning commission.
Yes.
On April 7, 2020, and then subsequently, as required by the municipal code, there's a 10-day grace period before an approval takes effect. And so when we notified the city council of the approval of the planning commission, we had received a request by a council member to put this on the agenda for further review.
Good. It does need further review. And Mr. Juan Garza, Bellflower is so much bigger than Hawaiian Gardens. We already have 2 big gyms. I mean, this is a nice looking facility, but you know, all we have are gyms and storage places, you know? So let's hear what you have to say.
Councilmember, Mr. Mayor, would you like to hear from me or from the applicant? I will respect whatever the process you have, so.
Go ahead, let's hear from you. Okay,
great. So thanks for the opportunity, Mayor, council members, city manager. I am, as you know, I am a council member, but aside from that, I actually am a consultant. That's what I do for a living. And in this case, I've actually represented this client for quite some time now as he's been exploring different sites to potentially be able to continue his gym business. He's currently located in the city of Long Beach. And my understanding is that the site that he has, he doesn't control. He's actually a leaseholder. And the area where his current business is located is actually, the market is a little high because of the growing amount of cannabis interests. And so he's basically been priced out of where he's at. And so he's been exploring finding a new home. And so in him doing his due diligence with different real estate agents, which is something that's outside of my control and my scope, it seems like he has come to terms on purchasing that location in that shopping center within your city. So that's frankly what the issue is before you, and that's my role in all of this. And I'd be happy to answer any of the questions that you may have.
Want to jump in?
Thank you, Mr. Juan. Right now, I want to open public comments. Lucy, do we have any public comments?
Mayor, no, the only comments that we had received were the 7 letters of support that were submitted.
Okay, thank you. So now close public comments. I now close public comments. Thank you, Lucy. Does anyone have any comments, any questions for Juan Garza?
No particular comments or questions from Juan. Thank you, Juan, for taking the opportunity to let us know your relationship with the applicant and their desired need. I wouldn't mind hearing directly from the applicant in terms of a better idea in terms of his operations, his vision, how he feels he's going to integrate himself within the community, just overall the bigger picture. So if we couldn't mind, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to hear from the applicant. Sorry, Edward, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, can you please unmute yourself?
Oh, my apologies. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry. Thank you again for taking the time to review this case. I want to begin by kind of clarifying, despite being a training facility, it is not a typical 24-hour fitness or a corporate gym, what have you. The letters of support, if you identify who they're from, they are members of fire, police, special needs. And what they are is tangible examples of how we are embedded in our local community. We run internships with the local city college and state schools. We participate with the Special Olympics and Red Cross. And what I'm getting at is there is a very strong sense of community within my gym and my facility. And I think that kind of sense of community is very absent in a typical health club where people are kind of just on their own with their headphones on. If I am allowed to be in Hawaiian Gardens, I will, of course, integrate all those endeavors in with the city. But also, I've already agreed to help the youth sports and recreation programs within your city as well. And also, the Hawaiian Garden City is involved with the Special Olympics, which I am happy to hold as a training facility or event center for whatever your fitness endeavors and relations may request. I also want to kind of reiterate that this shopping center seems to be in a decline. And what I mean by that the two largest parcels are vacant and the shopping center seems relatively empty with parking at an abundance. And while my gym really does not take up that much parking simply because it's, despite its size, is a very tight-knit gym that doesn't have more than a dozen, 15 people in the gym at any time. This will completely revitalize that shopping center. We are internationally known as a astounded bodybuilding and strength facility. And as such, we attract members from all over the country, all over the world, and we'll be bringing people into the city of Hawaiian Gardens. And I believe there is a residual effect of these, members and guests leaving the gym hungry, finding a place to eat, finding a place to go shopping afterwards. So I think that it will not only revitalize the existing shopping center that I'm trying to occupy, but also its surroundings and put Hawaiian Gardens on the map in people's heads that may not realize where Hawaiian Garden is exactly.
Thank you. Any other questions? So that answer your question, Mr. Farfan?
Yeah, let me ask something further. So you spoke about youth programs. What
That's
kind
correct.
of youth programs can you offer to the residents of our community? Can you just elaborate a little further upon that?
Well, I was requested by a planning commissioner, if I'm not mistaken, and she asked if I would be willing to provide my facility for local youth programs. And I think she meant through the schools in the area. And I emphatically said yes. But in addition to that, we work with special needs athletes, and one of which is two of which are in those letters of recommendations. One is a young man's father who his son has autism, and we work with autistic kids, as well as there's a young lady named Misty who has spina bifida, and we work with special needs athletes on that front. Again, we also offer an internship program, and I had the head internship coordinator from Long Beach City College write about the 6+ years of an internship relationship we've had. I've provided also screenshots and documentation of my interns organically attesting how beneficial this program was for them. It wasn't they intern at 24 Hour Fitness, ironically enough, and they also intern at my facility 6 weeks each. And the difference was at 24 Hour Fitness, they were sent to clean. And at my facility, I sat down with them twice a week and explained business skills, how to sell yourself as a trainer, these certifications that might be most advantageous for their future endeavors, and really is a hands-on approach. And I care. And again, that really translates to the community we have. It's not like a typical Planet Fitness. This is something very special. And the closest two things I can compare it to is almost like a church treats its congregation, and how Gold's Venice was back in the heydays of the 70s and 80s. And that's really what inspired me to want to build a gym that frankly cares about its members. And I've run my gym for 10 years, just about 10 years in North Long Beach. We've become, like I said, world renowned. People seek us out from all over the world to come train at Metroflex, just like they do Venice Beach and at Gold's. And I can't help but think how beneficial this will be to your city when everyone's coming into Hawaiian Gardens to train here. I also want to bring up one other thing on the side. I understand that my business is primarily a service-based business, but I also have a supplement store that does retail sales. And despite being a small business, and of course, in light of the COVID-19, I'm closed right now. But once I can buy this building and move in and build back up to the financial viability, I'd be happy to also contribute in addition to the sales tax revenue to the city. I want to be a team player and I want to help out and contribute to this city because this is going to be my new home, hopefully.
And I appreciate that. Obviously, City of Hawaiian Gardens is limited in terms of, industrial space, retail space. And that is some of the main concerns that, my colleague mentioned earlier, is that there is somewhat of a saturation in terms of facilities. Not to say that every facility is exactly like yours. It seems like yours is unique in that perspective. But, anytime we basically give up square footage, we're missing out on potential future opportunities for economic development. And so I think we had to be as very conservative as possible. So I appreciate that gesture and you saying, hey, look, when our business, maybe flourishes and gets, up to speed, and that there is consideration in terms of either doing some type of partnership that would benefit both parties financially somehow, some way. I think that's something that we'd have to, talk about further in detail, but you have to realize, this is probably one of the last retail major spaces that we have in terms of the community. So
I understand. And again, this isn't the largest parcel on that shopping center, but I do think if and when a grocery store moves into the largest parcel, assuming it's that, one will only help the other, and it will really generate a buzz in that shopping center as a whole. And the other tenants there, which are mostly food and health related, will all benefit.
No, I agree. Anytime you have either an anchor tenant or a sub-anchor tenant, that does bring, it basically livens up the place and allows the general public to realize, hey, look, things are changing here, and it invites other parties to come in and gain interest. So, it's great that you definitely are expressing interest and you want to move in, and that says that, look, things are changing here in Hawaiian Gardens. So I'm happy to see that.
Thank you. Absolutely. I want to make a comment myself. Today I went and took a drive and take a look at the facility, see what it looked like. And that's a huge area right there, the whole shopping center. And I noticed that a lot of businesses are closed and out of business. And with the COVID-19, I'm not surprised a few of those, now they might end up closing. But, there's plenty of parking there. That place looks like a ghost town. But that place being closed since 2005, it brings $0 to our city. It actually does a disservice to the neighboring businesses that could potentially, a business, for example, like this gentleman's business, could bring a value to other businesses and the interests of coming to the city and open a new business. And it's not like we have a flood of businesses wanted to open or fighting for that building. It's just this gentleman right here. So I think it'll be definitely a great investment. Right now with the COVID-19, I know we're gonna be losing some businesses. As a matter of fact, I got a letter today that one of the businesses on Carson Street are gonna close now. So I know for a fact we will be losing businesses. So definitely it'll be a great advantage to give this gentleman the opportunity to bring his business, his gym, and make a difference in our community. And I can see he's a team player. He wants to bring value. For the last 5 years, the building being empty brings no value, $0, and it does a disservice to the neighboring business. So I think I appreciate your willingness to work with us and bring value to our city and be a team player. Does anyone else have any other comments or questions?
I have a comment. Just very quickly, Edward, thank you so much for taking interest in Hawaiian Gardens. And Juan, it's always nice to see you. You know, like my colleague, Mayor Alvarado and Councilmember Farfand mentioned, to me, it's very important that when a business comes in, you know, they take root in our city and that they care in a way that's meaningful. And I think just the mere fact that you assist and work with our interns from Long Beach City College and assist with the disabled community, that says a lot to me. And you know, like Mayor Alvarado said, that particular location has been closed for some time. Before that, it was a thrift shop. And honestly, I can say with certainty that, you know, Metroflex will definitely liven that area up. And I'm sure that a very great grocery store will want to come in town because of it, to be next door. So to me, it's very unique. It's a unique culture. I looked into it, and being that we're right next to the city, I mean, Orange County, Cypress and Orange County, I know that it'll bring a different clientele that will hopefully also leave their dollars here, shop here, eat here. So I'm personally very excited to support this project, and I look forward to seeing Edward be a part of our community, and I hope my colleagues agree with me.
So Edward, what kind of, I guess I'm not saying as of, you know, this particular year, but what kind of commitment can you potentially give the city to say, look, you know, when maybe business picks up in a year, obviously this is going to be a difficult situation now because of COVID-19, but what kind of financial commitment would you throw out there for the city, or what else can you offer, I guess?
Well, it's hard to make, you know, the projections and predictions in light of everything that's going on. But, you know, just the mere fact that I'm able to purchase a building and you know, put money into that equity gives me the financial security in no time at all to want to contribute. Listen, as soon as I, you know, am able to move, integrate, and reopen, and business is as good as it is in Long Beach, then I'm all about on board of doing it as soon as possible. And I would love to sit down with the council members and any appropriate staff to discuss it in the future too, on an ongoing basis. I want to be as transparent as possible with, you know, how I'm doing, because again, I want to fully integrate into the community. It's just hard to say, you know, I want to say, you know, next year, but again, this is all a big commitment and brand new to me. This is my first real estate purchase, and it's for my business. And even just by moving in there will improve cash flow, because as Juan had said, the current location I'm in, being zoned for marijuana, has just absolutely priced me out of the market.
Honorable Mayor and members of City Council. So I think at this point, given the comments by the council, there seems to be support for the project. And Joe or Megan can jump in on this, but normally you would stipulate a revenue in lieu amount. So as you know, to the point that this reason was brought up by several council members, these type of projects do not bring sales tax per se. So a lot of times city, we meet and discuss and agree to a sales tax in lieu amount, right? And so it would be either appropriate to give me the discretion to negotiate that, but obviously there's got to be a ceiling or a minimum. I'm trying to think of how we can do that, or simply the applicant commits to a dollar amount, and basically he wouldn't be. What I would suggest is he wouldn't be committed to paying that until a year after operation, something like that. And so it's really your discretion, but this is a normal practice that, obviously we can't require it at staff level, but obviously you, the city council, make a determination of what kind of businesses you do and don't want in the city with regards to their overall benefit. And so I can tell you that the way I've looked at this in the past, working with Joe on this, is for that kind of square footage, what would a restaurant bring, or what would even like a fast food joint, that kind of thing. So it's really discretionary. It's what you want to do. You got to weigh the in lieu contribution with the potential impact to the community, either business or otherwise. But you should provide some direction with that when the motion comes in, what that looks like.
Any comments, or any clarification on that?
I actually have a comment. Thank you, Juan. I want to thank Juan for putting out the City of Hawaiian Gardens and maybe pointing it into Edward's direction. I know that we definitely have a different demographic from Long Beach, so I just want to ask, Edward, I know based on the look of the gym, it seems like it's more like a CrossFit, more hardcore trainers. So do you anticipate that to have the same success from your North Long Beach? Because we have a completely different demographic than maybe Long Beach does.
Yeah, well, I think I tell people what defines a member of Metroflex is their focus, and it's not necessarily their athletic ability. We attract more people that just want to stay in shape than anything else. It's more about the approach we give to fitness, and it's an effective one. We use trainers that specifically tailor programs to the athlete or to the client's needs, and generally try to make there be some sort of tangible commitment down the road, such as a competition, to motivate them. And it's a system that I've developed since being a trainer and starting out. And that's what makes my gym so effective and successful is athlete or novice, people are achieving the goals and results. So I do think it's applicable in your community for two reasons. One, because I'm so close where I'm currently at that I expect the majority, if not all of my members to just come right over into your city. But I also think that planning myself in a busy street like Carson around a lot of residents they will identify me as this new gym and see my track record and a very, very strong Yelp and try it out, and the results speak for themselves. But again, I expect all of my existing members, which is right around the 300, 350 mark, to all come over because it's only a few exits down the freeway. I mean, a 10-minute drive at most.
And,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead,
Edward, thank you. Edward, is your location the one on 59th Street?
That's correct.
Yeah, so I am on Yelp right now. I just, you mentioned Yelp, 136 reviews, 5 stars. And I think for Yelp, it's really hard to get 5 stars when it's more than a certain number of reviews. So congratulations on a great rating there.
Thank you.
I wanted to just add that, and then also just mention if we do need to discuss a dollar amount today, is that correct, Ernie? Is that what you're suggesting?
Actually, I'll defer to Megan on this. I don't know that you need to stipulate a dollar amount. You may, if you want to provide direction for me to negotiate that. But obviously, I'd like to get an understanding of a ceiling or what you're looking, a comparison. For example, like I said, a fast food restaurant or a gym of that size square footage. Again, there doesn't have to be a direct correlation because you can weigh the benefits to the business community or the local community. But for us, at least, I need to get some kind of direction. If that's what you want to do, again, you have the discretion to say we don't need that. But I want to give you all your options.
Ernie, this is Joe and Mayor. Just to give you kind of an analogy of a facility of this size normally would bring in the upper $10,000 range, just because of the magnitude and size of this facility. So between $5,000 and $10,000 ceiling would be some that we would be looking at. I know we've had some discussions in the past, but just to put it out there so you have an idea more or less where I think we should be shooting at.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Maravilla, I would also say that part of your job in considering land use entitlements when they come before you is you're allowed to impose conditions of approval related to the project. And so if you want to give Ernie the discretion to effectively negotiate that condition of approval with some guidance, you can certainly do that. You don't have to nail down exactly what you're looking for. As long as you provide him sort of a sufficient idea of what you're looking for, he can work with the applicant on that condition.
Well, so one last comment, I think, I just kind of want to echo what both Councilmember Farfan said and then our Mayor Jesse. So we are giving up our real estate in the city, which is very limited. And, that's kind of what makes the decision hard, Edward, in all honesty. But also, like Mayor Alvarado said, that retail center is in decline. I've driven by there multiple times, and that corner market, or I believe it used to be a Savon's, that was years ago. Then a thrift shop, and it's other than that, there's really nothing there. I think that there's been a few businesses that have tried to open up doors, and we've been trying for years to get that area of the city rolling and probably renovated and attracting small businesses. And I'm all for the small business. I think that it's a good opportunity to get a small health facility that's privately owned, that has a different subculture that hopefully can help us bring in, a market that targets a different group. Or, I know that a lot of like the CrossFits are linked with like the healthy eating lifestyle. And so hopefully that will help us bring in some new businesses into that area of the community. So in my opinion, I think any retail at this point, even though it's not the perfect scenario, I think that anybody who's willing to come in and do business in the city of Hawaiian Gardens, we should embrace them and see how we can work together. So hopefully we can come to an agreement and you can start calling Hawaiian Gardens your new home.
I have a question in terms of approving an entitlement. So is a city able to request, like in lieu of a financial dollar amount, for example, a discounted rate for city employees or something like that, or some kind of special category for city residents? Is that something that has ever been worked out with another type of similar business?
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Maravilla, I would say that there are that rates for residents is something that has been, I think, worked out before on the condition of approval. Conditions of approval need to reasonably relate to the project and have a nexus to the impact of the project. And so I think if you can reasonably justify that, which I think certain perhaps rates for Hawaiian Garden residents may be a reasonable request in that regard. That's one thing to look at as a condition.
Well, I was asking that because I know our city manager loves to go and hang out at the gym. So I was like, well, or other city employees that we have here.
So I guess what I would recommend then is, again, assuming that there's favorable movement on the city council for this, is providing the discretion. I think the applicant, and I know his representative, understands the issue. And so something reasonable could be a combination of real dollars and discounts, so those kind of things, or even community service. A combination of a variety of factors to come up with something that makes sense for both parties. I think I can do, obviously, with the max ceiling, something being, in other words, the negotiated terms would be something in between a low-level fast food joint and obviously a 10,000 square or the equivalent of a large gym. Understanding that that's not your goal, I think I have enough parameters to move forward. But again, this is your discretion as far as how specific you want to be.
Yeah, I'm in favor of proceeding forward if we are able to negotiate sometimes the terms in regards to either we can have a ceiling anywhere from like $8,000 to like $12,000, that window, and that would just supplement any particular type of revenue we would have earned from another retailer at that space. So.
I'm in favor of that, and I also would like, if it's possible, that we link it to a specific cause. Since it is a sports facility, I think we should link it probably to our youth sports or some other services in the community. We do operate, like Edward mentioned, an annual Special Olympics, and we partner with a couple of those groups, so maybe we can supplement that income to replace the funds that we pay for those events.
Great. Any other comments, suggestions? Great. I think Ernie has enough information to negotiate and get it done and make it work. I'm sure Juan, is definitely good to see you, and I'm sure it all worked out. So, can I get a motion?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, before we hop on over to that, could I just two things to clarify? We're going to end the public hearing right now and move on to council deliberations, just to clear up for the record. And before we do that exactly, though, I would like if we could just hear from the applicant to confirm that a condition that is being discussed, like we've just referenced, that that's agreeable to them to work with the city manager to negotiate. If you could just let us know if that's something that works for you guys, we'd appreciate that before we move on to our motion.
It does work for me. So, and I look forward to speaking with those parties about the specifics in the near future.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, Megan?
No, I will say if you're going to move forward with a motion to approve both resolution number 027-2020 and 028-2020, I'd recommend that the motion maker add the condition that was just discussed, that's part of the resolution, or part of the motion is to amend the resolution to add that condition to allow the city manager to negotiate under the terms that were just addressed. And in addition, to clarify that the city council is moving to confirm the planning commission's resolutions 2020-008 and 2020-009, approving those minor use permits, just for the record.
Great. Let me see if I get all this straight. So I'd like to get a motion on resolution number 027-2020 and resolution number 028-2020. And we'll give Ernie, our city manager, authorization to negotiate what we just discussed. And also, Megan, can you just recreate?
And yeah, that those two resolutions we'll add a section to each of those resolutions to clarify that the council is finding that they are confirming the planning commission's action to approve those minor use permits for the findings set forth in those resolutions.
Can I get a motion?
I motion what Mayor Alvarado and our attorney just said.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Lucy, can you please conduct roll call?
Thank you, Mayor. So the motion was made by Councilmember Maravilla, seconded by Councilmember Farfan and Councilmember Trumbull.
So motion carries.
Wait,
Nope.
okay. Councilmember Trumbull has voted no. Councilmember Farfan?
Yes.
Councilmember Maravilla?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa?
Lucy, I just want to clarify, we're approving this motion with the condition that Councilmember Farfan mentioned, which is hopefully that we come to an agreement within that range. And then also if it would be possible to use those funds directly for recreation purposes as far as replacing. Is that what was?
So that so that my understanding of the motion was to negotiate terms and conditions related to some kind of in lieu contribution. That would be in the form of an in lieu of sales tax contribution, which is general fund essentially. So the city council has discretion on how to dedicate those dollars.
Luis, are you in favor?
Yes.
I'm also in favor.
Thank you. Motion carries with 1 no by Councilmember Trumbull. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Congratulations, Edward.
Thank you very much for your time and for your approval.
You're welcome. Appreciate it. Thank you for your business.
You wish everyone a good evening.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Now we go to discussion items, C23. Discussion on the use of CDBG funds. Do we get a staff report?
Honorable Mayor and Member City Council. So Linda can go into detail on these, but this is essentially ultimately we discussed. You hear me?
Actually, I skipped the agenda. Can we go back? I need to go back to actually the consent calendar. Apologize. Does any council member want to pull any agenda item from the consent calendar for separate discussion?
I'd like to pull 18 and 19 and 20.
18. Anyone else? May I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended to exclude items for separate discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the remainder of the consent calendar in its entirety.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
You do roll call, Lucy?
Thank you, Mayor. So I have the maker of the motion to approve the consent calendar minus item 18, 19, and 20 as Victor Farfan. And the second was by Mayor Pro Tem Roa. Councilmember Trimble?
Yeah.
Councilmember Trimble?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Farfan?
Yes.
Councilmember Maravilla?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa?
Yes.
Mayor Alvarado?
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you, Lucy. B18, resolution number 029, 2020. Authorizing city manager to execute agreements with the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration for implementation of local transactions and use sale tax, TUT Measure HG. Any questions on this, Trimble?
Well, can I get a staff report on it first?
Sure.
And let me just kind of summarize what these are. So all of these actions are related to implementation of Measure HG. We have to submit these to start collecting tax when the county moves forward with it. So it'll either be July or is it August, Linda? What's the date?
October.
And so it just depends on how soon we can get these documents in and the approvals that they have to do at the county level. But these are all related to Measure HG. So if there's specific questions about any of these items, Linda can address it, sir.
Okay, then I have a question. I have a question for you, Linda. On page 181, that first little paragraph on top, the third sentence says, there is also an ongoing administrative cost that is charged quarterly and is deducted from the tax collected. Now, that startles me because I know all our measures for the homeless, all our little taxes, by the time administration's paid, there's nothing left. That's how these taxes work. Now, do you have a guesstimation of how much administration is going to cost on our tax?
Percentage of however much we collect. So it's going to change based on how much you collect. And I'm trying to remember, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but it was a small percentage that is charged against the amount we collect. And that's currently also, there's a fee charged on all our other sales tax. So they charge an admin fee to process all of the sales tax.
And that's
It's
our
small.
employees, right? Their administration, correct?
They're they're administering it. They do the collection, they do the processing.
Go into the parks and roads, it's gonna go to administration, they get theirs, then the rest goes to parks and roads, correct?
No. On this Measure HG,
Yes?
what this is the tax we will collect. They will collect the money from the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They will charge a fee for administering all of that and then send the rest of the money to us. So we'll get the bulk of the money. It's a very small percentage. I can look that up. It is in their code.
Mm-hmm.
But all the money comes to us other than the small admin fee that they charge us.
Now, they get a salary, right? They don't get a percentage of what we get. The more
They
tax,
charge
the more
per
taxes,
their
the bigger they
I'm sorry.
get.
per their code, for anyone that they administer the sales tax, they charge a small percentage that goes to help pay their salaries and to pay all of the overhead and to pay their bills. Because they have to have staff to be able to process, do the collections, process, get the checks processed, get that distributed to all the appropriate parties. So they charge a fee, and I can get you the percentage. I just don't happen to have it in front of me.
Are we talking about 18 and 19 or are we talking about 20?
18 and 19.
Yeah.
This is the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. They used to be the State Board of Equalization.
Mhm.
They're the ones that collect sales tax throughout the state of California.
And they're the ones I'm afraid of. I thought our taxes stay in our community. Because these people, they collect all our little penny gas taxes and homeless never see none of that.
Well, what happens is every tax that is put out and voted on is handled by this California Department of Tax and Fee Administration.
Okay.
Then how that tax is distributed depends on how the tax is passed. Now, Measure HG is passed, that the tax comes back to us. So all the money collected under that particular item will come back to us. They just charge a fee. The money that you're talking about, the money you're talking about is there is a sales tax applied that is charged, that is collected for the county, let's say. They still collect it from the businesses, but then they distribute that portion of the sales tax that's collected to the county or whoever it is that placed that tax on the tax rolls.
All right. Thank you. I have nothing further to say on that one. So let's go to 20.
Hold on, Lucy, do we need to vote on this one? He's done with that. Okay, we're gonna vote on this. Can I get a vote on resolution number 029, 2020? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Lucy, can you please conduct roll call?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Farfan made the motion to approve and Councilmember Maravilla made the second. Councilmember Trimble,
Yes.
Councilmember Farfan,
Yes.
Councilmember Maravilla,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa,
Yes.
Mayor Alvarado.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you, Lucy.
Hey, can I ask a question? Linda, why was there a roll call vote? Didn't the voters already vote on this? Didn't the voters vote this in?
The vote that you just took was to approve a resolution that authorizes the city manager to execute agreements with the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration to prepare and implement our sales tax.
Which the city approved on their vote. Yes, and we're just taking the procedures to handle that. I understand. Okay, good job.
You're correct. We're just basically doing the administrative functions that are required when something like that passes, that the residents passed.
Okay, good job. Thank you.
Now we go to B19, resolution number 0030-2020, examination of the City Council of the city authorizing examination of sales, use and transactions tax TUT records. Is there a staff report or what's your question, Hank?
Well, Ernie, can you clarify this to me?
Yes, are we talking about resolution number 031-2020?
No, 30.
B20. Item number 20 on the consent calendar.
Before we do that, let's vote on the first item.
We already did.
Oh, we did?
We didn't vote on 19. You voted on 18.
I thought we ran them together.
Well, they didn't.
Then let's vote on 19.
Yeah.
So just for clarification, Mayor, the item that was voted on was agenda item 18, which was corresponding to resolution number 029-2020.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 031-2020.
I'll second that motion.
Wait, for clarification, if I.
030.
030, thank you.
Okay, Mayor, I believe now we're at 031-2020, agenda item number 20.
Just a moment, let me take a quick roll call, please. The mayor of the motion was Councilmember Maravilla with a second by Councilmember Farfan. Councilmember Trimble?
Yes.
Councilmember Farfan?
Yes.
Councilmember Maravilla?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa?
Yes.
Mayor Alvarado?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. We now B20, resolution number 031-2020, approving the second amendment to the agreement with Handler, De Llamas and Associates for Sales and Use Transactions Tax TUT Services. There's staff report. What's your question, Chairman?
Well, under fiscal impact, it says the cost of the basic service for Measure HG sales tax is $100 per month. Is that what we're going to pay for these people to handle that tax? Or I've never seen this with basic service. That what caught my eye, basic service.
So, Honorable Mayor and Member City Council, we currently contract with HDL. They do all the sales tax analysis that help us kind of see trends and see where sales tax are being produced or lack thereof, that kind of thing. So this $100 a month is to now, they do that for our current 1% that the city gets. This is for the additional 0.75% that will be generated as part of the Measure HG. So it's just expanding their current services because we're the analysis they're doing is a bigger number now.
So it's going to be around $100 a month extra for this new tax thing? Yeah.
For their services related to the new tax, yes.
Okay, that was my question. That just caught my eye.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution number 031-2020?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Can you please conduct roll call?
Thank you, Mayor. The motion was made by Councilmember Farfan and the second by Councilmember Maravilla to adopt resolution number 031-2020. Councilmember Trimble?
Yes.
Councilmember Farfan?
Yes.
Councilmember Maravilla?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa?
Yes.
Mayor Alvarado?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you, Lucy. We now go to discussion items, C23, discussions on the use of CDBG funds. Can we get staff report?
Honorable Mayor, Member City Council, this is a follow-up item to the last discussion we had at the city council level with regards to the new CDBG dollars associated specifically with COVID-19. It's that new influx of dollars. Part of that conversation at the city council level was to bring back different ideas of the type of programs you'd like to utilize those dollars for. And so before you in the staff report, and Linda will kind of go over them real briefly, is examples she's either gotten already from other agencies, or some of these include some input we've already received from different council members. And so, Linda, you just kind of go through them, and then obviously all we really want today is you to say, yes, that's something you like to do, or if there's something that we missed and you want to do. This is really you developing how we're going to spend those dollars. And if you notice, the staff report is kind of generic as far as, for example, senior activities and programs. It's pretty broad. I mean, you can give generic direction today, but obviously if there's something that we're missing that you specifically want to do, now is the time to provide direction to staff so we can move forward.
Any comments?
Yes, something that I had in mind as it relates to CDBG monies was potentially doing a program with Food for Less and offering food vouchers for families. Of course, negotiating something with Food for Less to see if there's a percentage or a dollar amount that they could contribute to each voucher. And so my idea was, I know that there's a lot of food insecurity everywhere in our country, and Hawaiian Gardens is not immune to that. And so I would like to see if we could do something to help with that. I have not reached out to our current food bank to see how they are impacted by the coronavirus, but I do know that a lot of families have a lot of need. So my idea was if we could get 2 different dollar amounts for these vouchers, it could be one for families less than 4, and then another dollar amount for families more than 4. First come, first serve basis for families in need, just very, very basic application, and they can, it could be conducted or coordinated here at our city hall or at our recreation center. So it's just an idea of helping people with something tangible to assist with food insecurity.
Any other comments?
I think that's a wonderful suggestion. Obviously, you know, that's a vital need for the community and just across the board. The one thing I was thinking about in terms of recommending would probably fall under either assistance to businesses or somehow, some way, might be just another sub category. But I'm thinking, what I'm seeing across the board is that you're hearing of all these job layoffs. And so with that being said, maybe we consider some type of job training voucher that residents could use, maybe potentially at some type of local community college or at an institution that specializes in some type of job training. But I think that might be something vital for our residents, those that are facing the hardship of being laid off. People aren't thinking about it right now, but you know, ultimately everyone's gonna have to go back out into the workforce. And if there's a time right now that, you know, we're kind of dormant, maybe they could take the opportunity to take some type of courses and improve their skills and be more marketable in the future.
I actually love that idea. And I think Dr. Fierro and our representative on that board, Ms. Perez, I'm sure that they would be delighted to work with us to see how they could create that opportunity for our residents. So thank you so much for contributing that idea. I hadn't thought about it, but it's a great idea.
I also know that Celico, unfortunately, right now, they actually, you know, not operating their business like they wanted to. But I know Celico provides a lot of trainings in different areas. They help them with resumes. And whenever there's funding, they definitely they let us know so we can get our residents apply for that. So maybe that and Silico, we can incorporate something that works both ways, but they're fine tuned with, they're training people in many different areas in different categories that can definitely support the cost, especially during this challenging times where, money's not available. Yes. Anyone else?
So I'd like to say something. A lot of kids don't like college, So I'd like to implement money to go to trade schools. I mean, in my many classes, believe me, in Norwalk, they have a beautiful welding training school on Bloomfield and Rosecrans around there, Excelsior. In Arizona, they're saying if you could get people certified welders, we'll bring them here and house them and they could build. Arizona's building like crazy. They need welders. Our guys can learn how to weld. They all know how to draw. They can weld and be productive. I think trade schools should never be looked over. I think we probably get a better percentage with trade schooling, so we can look into that too if council agrees.
Yeah, I think we're open to ideas and anything. It's just, how do we reach out to our residents? How do we help them improve the situation that some of them may be in? And so any ideas, I think, are on the table at this point. So,
and I have an idea. So I know, I would recommend that staff for food vouchers with Food for Less, try to negotiate something and try to find that dollar amount. Now for the vouchers, are we looking to work with, for example, Cerritos College or Long Beach City College or a trade school? I know that Long Beach City College or Cerritos, one of those two, if not Cypress, they're a part of different consortiums. And I know that if one does welding, the others do not. But are we looking to fund like a $1,000 voucher for a student to do a program? Or how would we assist with that process? Just because it's almost like financial aid. So would we kind of invest that financial aid into their ID number? Or I'm just trying to logistically think how staff would execute that vision.
So, Madam Mayor, Linda, what is the amount?
Well, we have one amount that's $117,977. That's the CDBG CV or COVID virus money that's available. And that's available now for programs that we can implement. And then we have the 100,000 that you indicated you wanted to use for programs, public service programs. That starts in July.
Okay.
So you have 117 right now, and you have another 100,000 that starts in July through CDBG.
So understanding the size of the resources we have, we would simply, because I don't know logistically exactly to Councilmember Maravilla's point, how the logistics will work, but we'd reach out to the trade schools and the community colleges and ask them, what they would need to, because, obviously they have not only, we both have mutual interest to make something like this succeed. Not only is that their number one objective in their business, but I'm sure they'd like cities participating in resources or in a program like this. So I would reach out to them and find out exactly what is the best way and what is the amount of monies that is logical, right, to move forward, and more importantly, to maximize the amount of monies that we have. And same thing with the food voucher program, looking at kind of how that would work. And so right now, I think that, through discussion with both these groups, we'll be able to come back and outline a program for you to look at as far as how we're going to move forward logistically. And, any resources left after that, we can look at other things like some of the senior and youth activities, online classes and stuff like that, that we're able to do still. That's a good amount of money, not a ton of money, but it's, I think for the demands of a program like this, it should be sufficient to get it going.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention, that I wanted to mention is that we can take these ideas and then we need to go back to the CDBG guidelines and make sure that we can implement these according to and use those funds.
Yeah.
Linda, I have a question. Can any of that money be used to pay employee salaries?
I You know, I do not know. There is some job training that's possible, childcare, healthcare, recreation programs. I don't know. I'm looking at an overview, but if that's something that you want to explore, certainly we can look at that. I'm not aware of anything.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
so
only
it's a new program related to COVID. For example, the online classes for seniors or youth, and it's a brand new program. It didn't exist prior to this funding coming in. And our employees do the training, then it's eligible. But it looks like that would be eligible. We'll confirm, but
Yeah.
the key is
And the only reason why, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit anybody's suggestions. Hank, I think it's a wonderful idea. You know, Long Beach City College, I work for Long Beach City College. They have many trades. And I think that's a great option for our students. But a lot of the community colleges already have free tuition for the students who go there right out of high school. Their first year is free. I know Long Beach has a 2.0 program, which means through the state, they get their first year free, and then the second year, the college foundation picks it up. And so what I'm anticipating, though, is that after hopefully everything is over and the community starts slowly going back to normal, people are going to be anxious to get back into our programs. Anticipate that there's going to be a need in recreation. You know, it's going to be right around summertime. That's when we have mini soccer. So why not reinvest those funds into bringing in some of the kids in our community to support the programs that we already have by creating additional youth jobs? You know, vouchers are great. I'm sure that there's a lot of families in need, but people also need something to do, especially coming out of a 2-month in-house, you know, staying at home. So I think that we could do a combination of both. We could provide youth employment jobs for the kids in our young men and women in our community, and we are probably going to attract more participants because their parents are going to be eager to get their kids out and to be involved in our services. I think our services have been growing these past years, and with everybody being on lockdown, I think that I anticipate that if things open up, we're going to get a lot of people coming in to our facilities. So I think it's just a suggestion. Maybe we should start preparing for the influx of participants that we're going to get as things start to settle down.
Yeah, I think we'll look at basically a youth employment type program. I know that I can tell you at a different agency I was at, we use CDBG dollars initially for that program. It gets a little tricky because of qualifications, but certainly we'll look at that as an option to use some of these monies. And I can tell you the program I participated in was a summer youth employment program, where for the summer we'd bring in the youth. And if they qualify with CDBG dollars, we would put them in different areas. I would assume that would qualify. It certainly would qualify with the extra $100,000 you're dedicating for next year. Maybe not for the COVID, but it would for that other pot of money. That's a little more broad. I know the COVID dollars, as Linda said, we're provided with generic kind of broad categories, but the simple kind of guideline there is it's got to be a new program related to COVID-19. But with the additional money you already dedicated, in other words, you already gave staff direction to use additional monies for next year's CDBG allocation, you can certainly do a summer youth program type thing.
Any other comments? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Lucy, can you please conduct roll call?
So the motion was made by Councilmember Farfan, and the second was made by Mayor Pro Tem Roa. Councilmember Trimble?
Yes.
Councilmember Farfan?
Yes.
Councilmember Maravilla?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa?
Yes.
Mayor Alvarado?
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you, Lucy. We now go to C24, consideration relating to COVID-19 mitigation plan and related services changes. Can we get staff report?
So, Honorable Mayor and Member City Council, as we move forward with hopefully, well, before I go there, today the governor issued I believe, 6-part plan to reopening the state of California back for business, essentially, without any dates, unfortunately. So I couldn't tell you for sure that on May 16th, we'll be back to some semblance of activity, but at least we have some guidelines to what it's going to take to open back up. With that, though, Councilmember Maravilla and the mayor both approached me about putting mitigation measures in place already moving forward. And so, Councilmember Maravilla, what have to do actually brought this up. As you know, if you go to a fast food restaurant even right now, or I frequent the donut shop every day, they have essentially a glass where you can barely slip the donut box through to prevent people from, when they're talking, spraying onto the employees. And so we should probably look into doing those kind of protective measures for our employees when we do open up shop at some point. And so that was Councilmember Maravilla's request. And then the mayor suggested temporarily opening up a civic center for parking. As you know, with so many people being home, our parking complaints have gone up. We're trying to be, our current parking enforcement practices have been, how can I say it, relaxed. But we still have to respond to these issues because there's just not enough parking in some of the streets in our city, in particular in the streets kind of lateral to Civic Center. And so the mayor thought that a temporary opening that for parking would be one mitigation measure as we not only address the situation now, but until we open up full service as a city, county, and state. And so this would be appropriate for you to consider those two recommendations from both the council members. And obviously, if there's anything you want to add to have that discussion and direction tonight.
Any other questions? Any comments?
And I just wanted to add, in addition to looking at protective glass or plexiglass, whatever that looks like, I was also thinking about doing just planning. I know that our pool may or may not be open by the summertime, and putting in place rules and regulations, and maybe having all of our supervisors and managers working individually with staff members. I know they're talking about potentially a second wave coming, and I want us to be prepared for that and also prepared for when we reopen. So I was thinking that this could potentially look like, for example, the pool. If the pool reopens, what is a contingency plan? How are people going to pay? How are people going to swim? My guess would be that all of our classes would probably be canceled, and we would potentially only allow one family or one household in at a time. So blocking out 45-minute intervals so that families can come, enjoy the pool, and then they can go home. The pool is in, or everything is sanitized by staff, and then the next household that made a reservation can come through. So those are kind of like ideas as to how would we reopen the pool? What would that look like? What would our lifeguards be doing? Do they have enough protective equipment? And what would be the process of sanitizing? I know that it takes a long time for us to kind of prepare these policies and procedures and manuals, but I think because right now, a lot of our staff members are working from home or are not working at all, it's a perfect opportunity to go back and look at all of our processes. I mean, even in development with Mr. Colombo, community development, what is now going to be the process? Can we create digitized applications to prevent people from having to come in? Can we schedule Zoom meetings with applicants instead of having them come in? And just kind of putting all of this in place so that if there is a second wave, or if we need to, I know the governor today talked about a 4-phase plan. Phase number 4 would be reopening. But he also said that he would take it 1 week or 2 weeks at a time. So there is potentially a scenario where we reopen a sector of our community, and then 2 weeks later, we revert back to what the phase prior, or reclosing certain sectors. So I just want all of us to kind of be prepared so that our employees are not scrambling as to what do we do? You know, do we we don't know what to do, right? So kind of working with HR, working with our department heads, and brainstorming as to everything. I mean, tutoring, how would that work? Creating a process for that. How does virtual tutoring look like? Computer labs, when you reopen that, what does that look like? Are you only allowing 5 people to use it at one time? So just kind of working through that, because I just want to make sure that we're doing right by our community and that we're preparing now to keep them safe when they engage with our staff members and when they're engaging with our city programs. I would hate for there to be an outbreak in one of our programs because we didn't take proper precautions or we didn't do the proper planning to, for example, do a winter camp, you know? It's very possible that maybe we can do a winter camp, but what would that look like? How would that be different? Are we only doing mini camps where instead of the same group being together for a week, now we're only allowing them, group A comes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, group B comes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or something like that. So, you know, this is just an opportunity for us to be creative and kind of go through all of our programs. And I know that a lot of these might end up looking different, right? Or something like this. And so I would like to, if we make modifications to our programs, be able to publish that on our website so that, or on that application where ActiveNet, so that when parents are signing their kids up for X program, they know what the plan B is and what that looks like.
Any other comments?
This is a comment regarding community development. We had our first Zoom meeting, plot plan review application today. So our department has already transitioned to electronic world and doing virtual plan checking and meetings over the internet already. We've been working on that. So we are gearing up for that, as all of our activity for the most part for the last 3 weeks or so has been essentially all through the internet or some type of phone conference or video conferencing. So that's something that we are working on already.
So if I may paraphrase Councilor Maravilla, essentially, you know, to your point on this item as a mitigation measure, you're essentially discussing how as a city are we going to live with the new reality we're dealing with. And so I get that. And so it crosses really every department and every operation. So we'll certainly try to put those kind of things in place. I mean, right away, I thought of when this started, the city attorney provided a social distancing policy that we distributed to the employees. But essentially, it's that type of concept is, you know, under this new, at least for the next, 3 to 6 months, I think we're still going to be pretty restricted. And so how do we deal with that and how do we provide service with those kind of restrictions? So we can certainly do that. The protective glass or whatever we end up doing, not only will we move forward with that, but that should qualify for COVID-19 related reimbursement. And so that's positive. I guess where I would need just concurrence from the city council or comments against it is opening up Civic Center.
One of the things are you speaking, Ernie?
I was just saying, if basically is the council okay with opening up Civic Center or not?
I think I'm okay with it. I definitely, parking is a huge issue. There is no parking anywhere, especially, just everywhere. There's just a parking shortage. So I think if allowing it on Civic Center, like the mayor's proposing, I think it's, on my part, it's fine. I don't have any issues with it. I don't know if any of my other colleagues have issues with that.
I would like to comment on that. I don't really want it open because I love the way it looks clean. But for this time, temporarily, I have no problem opening it. Just until everything's lifted and then bring it back. I don't want to keep it permanently parking.
Ernie, how would that affect since we have the bike paths, and I know that there's funds from that are allocated to that, because we have the bike paths, and so how would that affect it if we open them temporarily?
We wouldn't change the marking, and because it's temporary in nature, and we don't have any funds that are jeopardized by changing it. What we would do is notify the residents along both sides of Civic Center that is now a temporarily available parking. And obviously we would notify our parking enforcement staff not to cite people parking there. But with regards to in other words, the bike lanes would still be there, just simply, and we're not suggesting you paint over them or change the markings at all, but people would just park there anyway. Like we do sometimes for special events when we open up Civic Center, we just basically allow parking there.
So from a public standpoint, a public safety standpoint, we wouldn't change any of the markings, but how would we prevent people from like parking too close to the sidewalks that would block people from walking and there would be blind spots? That'd be my only concern. Because right now, the way things are painted in most streets is a red curve on corners that prevents people from, contact residents.
So our public safety officers basically would do like we've done in the past, educate folks that they're violating basic parking city rules, making direct communication and even giving out warning citations if they're not available, so people get understanding of what is and what isn't allowed. We would probably have this not at least the restrictions would be different for a little while. So we wouldn't take any long-term actions unless that's what city council wanted to do. But we depend on our public safety officers to enforce that and communicate that and educate that. As you know, they're here 7 days a week, so that will help with the transition, because it would be like you suggested, there's a bit of a learning curve as far as what is and what is not acceptable.
Any other comments? Personally, I constantly get calls from residents that are being challenged by parking space, especially now because of COVID-19. There's more people at home and less people going to work, So, it's more of a problem now than even before. Before we had a problem, now we got a bigger problem. And in the past, we had people even physically fighting over parking. So I think because right now, the challenges of the COVID-19 is necessary and important that we allow to people park on Civic Center. I like Civic Center Street. It looks clean, it's empty, but to me, what's more important is keeping the peace of mind of residents and not fighting over, physically fighting over parking than a clean, empty, pretty street that's what it does for us. So I think it makes sense that we allow people to park, especially through these challenging times. I have residents that they don't have any driveway at all, and they're handicapped. They have kneecap problems. They have knee problems, and if they go, to the store or go get medication, they have to park like 2-3 blocks away, and they can barely walk. So it's very challenging for them. They limit themselves when they leave or they go to the store because they know when they come back they'll never find parking. And these are seniors that they live alone, and they don't have driveway, and they have requests like the handicap sign, and the challenge about that. So I think by opening the Civic Center, it really makes a lot. It lowers the tension among residents and make it more, at least for right now, more doable for bringing a little bit more peace of mind to people during this challenging time. So I request that, council considers approving that.
So one last question. Do we need to talk to the local buses that go through Civic Center just to inform them? I don't know if there needs to be any changes to where they park or anything in that matter.
That's a good point. We'll reach out to them, and if there's any issues, we'll address them. But there is at least one line that I know goes to their outside of the Dollarite service that we provide.
If there's no more questions, can I get a motion?
Actually, Mayor and member City Council, no motion is necessary. I got the direction I needed to move forward.
Thank you, Ernie. You go to C25, California City for Self-Reliance Joint Power Authority, JPA update. So do we have staff report?
Yes, Mayor. This, go ahead. This is a request by Councilmember Trimble. An update on the JPA. As you know, there's been a lot of these type of meetings, virtual meetings. And I think we have 2 board members on the city council. So unless there's a specific question for the board members or myself, I can answer.
Yes, I'm aware that they had a meeting in Sacramento, our casino, trying to get more tables for the casino because we're limited to like 255, I believe. But with the restrictions of COVID-19, the tables used to sit 8 people. Now they're going to sit 2 people. And it's going to cut the business way down. So they're trying to get tables okayed for the upper room, but it's not looking good. But Keith Sharp's on it. I'm telling you, Keith Sharp is sharp for the casino. Our JPA was not even a part of that. I don't even know if you guys were aware the meeting went on. I know you guys fired an attorney and have Keith Sharp working for you guys now or representing you, but did he ever give you an update, Ernie, or you, Mayor Alvarado, an update of what happened up there? Because social distancing is going to hurt us at the casino when we do open, because their rules are different from ours. So correct. I'm wondering, we're paying $70,000 for what we used to pay $30,000 for, and you guys aren't as active at all with what's going on with the casino business. So I wanted to update, Mr. Alvarado, what's going on? What's going on with your new board? I heard you guys hired a director who is your chair's friend, who's never directed anything like that before. Can you give us an update on that?
Yes, just for clarification, we're not, our investment to the JPA is not $70,000, what you're referring to. It's $30,000 a year. So your information is outdated. And now we hired a new executive director, and is your friend, Juan Garza, in case you didn't know. Juan Garza is our new executive director. He's highly qualified, and you know him.
Juan Garza, who just got the gym?
Exactly.
The same guy, mayor of Bellflower, he's council member of Bellflower, now in Hawaiian Gardens, and you guys hired him to represent the casinos?
Yes, highly qualified.
Highly qualified? They don't even have a casino in their city. How's he qualified?
So if you don't like it, well then that's your problem. So the JPA is moving right along. We have Juan Garza is doing a great job. So we're still even saving money because we have a free attorney that's not charging us. So I don't know what else. I mean, you got comments?
I have a question for Linda. Linda, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Linda?
Yes.
Okay. How much do we pay for JPA? $70,000 or $30,000?
The dues are $30,000 a year.
With less cities?
Everyone paid those for this last year. Now they have to review their budget. I don't know if that will change, but as of right now, it's $30,000.
Well, you and I had conversations 2 months ago, and you were saying that no one's ever paying the $70,000, and someone paid a partial of 30, and they can't pay a partial. Ernie, do you recall those conversations where people were paying partials and not the complete?
That was partial of the 30,000. It was never 70. Everybody paid 30 for this last year. 2 of the members did not pay because they dropped out. And then all of the cities last year paid 33,000 for the special assessment to do some special work with the Attorney General. But it was 30,000 is the only dues that have been paid at this point by every member.
Okay, all right, thanks for the update. Only time will tell, so let's just go with it, you know? Let's do it.
Can I get a motion?
Do we need a motion?
Okay.
It's just a receive and file.
It's a receive and file for this one, yep.
Okay, we go to committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Well, I just, I mean, it's not really a committee report, but I've been working with some elected officials from the gateway cities and Southeast LA cities. And I know that, I don't know if I mentioned it at the last council meeting, but our letter to our assembly member and various different entities at the Board of Supervisors, it was actually picked up by the LA Times. And we're happy to report that yesterday there was actually a meeting and the group was able to assist with now getting death rates per city. So before our group had convened, as you guys may remember, our city was not included by itself because we did not exceed 25,000 individuals. So our group fought and requested multiple times to different entities that our city be separated. So thanks to the group that participated and advocated for our communities, now Hawaiian Gardens is in its own category. And a dashboard launched yesterday, and that dashboard will actually show you the breakdown of deaths per city. I'm very happy to report that, thank you God, there has not been a death right now, as of now, in Hawaiian Gardens as it relates to coronavirus. The last update that I saw, we did have 9 cases. And so I want to urge, and it may be very possible that some of those cases are now, those individuals are no longer sick. So it's very possible that some of those numbers are recoveries. So I just want to take this time to just remind everyone, I know it's been really hot and the weather may not necessarily be very cooperative for us to be indoors. But if anyone does have to step outside of their homes, please always carry a bandana or a face covering. You can use anything from a scarf or I know it's uncomfortable, but I want to remind everyone to please abide by that. They actually, they've now announced that the percentage of, it doesn't have to be medical grade. You will actually prevent others from getting sick and in turn also assist yourself with that, with not getting sick if you use a cloth face covering. So I just kind of want to remind everyone about that. And I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank the county and thank Juan Garza, who's a part of that group, Eddie de la Riva, a council member from Artesia. We have Denise Diaz from Southgate and various other individuals, Mr. Solache from Linwood, and just all the elected officials that have taken time to assist with the advocacy. And so I just wanted to report out that now we can look at the dashboard and see what that breakdown looks like for Hawaiian Gardens and for other cities.
Any other committee reports? Any new business? Are there any oral staff reports? Are there any oral council reports? I just want to acknowledge people for continue staying home and follow the safer at home order. I know it's very challenging for some people more than others having to stay home, but I want people to get that it's important that to stay home, follow the orders and minimize being out there because even when they let the order, stay home order, it doesn't mean that the virus is gone. I'm not sure how long the virus is going to be around, but I think it's still going to be out there. So, we got to be responsible. And I get people say, well, these people are at the beach. What about us? So look, I say, they do what they do and you do what you do. You take care of your family, protect your kids, make sure they're taken care of. Don't expose them, because although how some people don't want to listen, although they don't want to obey, or it's no big deal, you know, those people that take it lightly, those are the ones that get infected and transmit infections to other people. So I want people to know that it's challenging, but I'd rather go to the challenge of staying home than the challenge of having COVID-19, or the challenge of having a loved one. Because this virus, whoever gets it, you don't know if that person's gonna live or die. So I'm not sure what it looks like for people that are having loved ones, kids, parents, you know, sisters, brothers, in that kind of situation that are struggling. I'm sure it's not pretty. And you know how much it will cost. I mean, what are we willing to give up or pay to be healthy, to be good health? I think when someone's going through some challenging health problems like that, and they had $1 million, they will give it up to be healthy. So there's no price on our health. And to stay home, I think it's a very small price to pay for the luxury of being healthy and being safe. So I know it's challenging, but just consider and think that, you know, will you rather stay at home and be healthy or not? So I want to acknowledge those people that really sacrificing and staying home and paying the price, because it's, you know, there's a price to pay. The price of staying home and being healthy, or the risk of going out there and potentially be around people that potentially transmit the virus, and now you're sick at home. And, you know, sometimes we're thinking like, well, if I get the virus, I get the virus, and I say, so what? But then some of us have families, have kids that could potentially transmit it to them. It's not fair that we transmit that to our kids or our wives or our brothers, sisters, because we're careless. So I really encourage people to continue staying home, being patient. Remember, if you're healthy, thank God that you're healthy. Thank God you don't have the virus. And pray for those that have it. And God help them, give them life and well-being. So with that being said, we're going to closed session. Leon, can you please read the closed session item, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. The City Council will now convene in closed session pursuant to the items listed on the agenda, pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6 and California Government Code Section 54956.9.
Recess meeting at 8:02 to close session. Meeting at 10:09 p.m. to close session. Lucy, can you please do roll call for closed session?
Councilmember Farfan, Councilmember Trimble, Councilmember Maravilla,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Roa,
Here.
Mayor Alvarado.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Lucy. Mayor, can you please provide closed session report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pursuant to the two matters listed on the agenda, no reportable action was taken.
Thank you, Megan. There be no further business. I hereby adjourn this meeting at 10 p.m. until our next regular meeting to be held on May 12th, 2020 at 6 p.m.